Welcome back, everybody. I'm joined here by Quickshot and also by Candy Panda from SK Gaming after that phenomenal win versus Fnatic. Great stuff. You yourself were on Vayne. Tell us why you went for Vayne, only the second time that we've seen her here in the LCS.
So our playstyle we figured out is that it's very AD-centric, that where I take a lot of farm and I get a lot of kills normally. So we trained a lot of Vayne because that's the carry I can carry the most with. So we trained Vayne and then we banned Caitlyn and Annie, the counters to Vayne, and then we just picked her.
That's quite strong words. Is it the only counters to Vayne? Because that's like very strong.
Right now, there's strong lanes against Vayne, but not straight up counters. I think Vayne is good against Leona, she's good against Thresh, and all AD carries. So if you ban Caitlyn and Annie, then there's nothing that can really shut down Vayne.
Still, there was a lane swap initiated. Did you maybe want to go for the 2 versus 1, but then they showed up as well?
Right, so we said at the start of the game that it's fine if we lane 2 versus 2, we will survive it, we will not get crushed, but it would be better if we lane swap. So we aimed for lane swap, they predicted it, in the end it was fine.
Talk to me a little bit about the early game, because you struggled very early on. Svenskeren and Freddy had a very good synergy. They got a lot of kills together. But how did you transition from that sort of losing laning phase to pulling it back in the mid game?
That's a good question, actually, because I don't know, I was just off the side lane, I was just farming, and then my team was just catching back up. The thing is that I tried to split push in the mid game, but they really focused on me. They always roamed down with 4 or 3 men, which hurt me in the end, as you can see at my score, but it enabled my team to do whatever they want.
And the moment of truth then always is when it comes to those team fights, and we actually got an example of one of those team fights.
Yeah, so we've got an interesting team fight. It's one where you guys actually went and traded 1 kill for 1 kill. You're actually one of those deaths there. Let's pull this replay up on your screen. It is into the latest stages of the game. We're sitting at about 29 minutes on the clock. Just to set the scene, you guys have already got a 7,000 gold lead. And this is a fight that you started. Let's roll this replay right now. And we see that Svenskeren goes very aggressive onto Peke, thinking they can catch him out. Talk to me what's happening through SK's minds.
Right, at this point we try to go in, but Peke flashes out and he kites out very good. So at this point we say go back, because we don't have Viod anymore. And then we see that they follow us up. So we call back, 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 and still we call back. But there's a point when Rumble ultis where we say, okay, turn it now, else they will just win this fight. So we turn this fight, we turn now with Orianna ult. And
well, I want to ask about now, because you definitely try to focus Peke on the right-hand side of your screen, and now you've gone very deep. You don't have your team with you. What was going through your mind?
Well, at this point I thought, okay, they're all low, so I'm just going to go for it. I think my team is going to follow up. But I think the trundle pillar blocked even my teammates, my own teammates, so they couldn't follow up, and then I died. And then a nice Q from Sven picks up Peke at the end.
Very quickly, as this replay is now ending, what's going through SK's communications at this time? Who's the voice? Was that Sven saying, I'm going to go on Peke? Was that Enrated saying, catch, who's yelling the loudest?
Well, right now, at the start it was Sven saying, okay, I go on Peke. Then it was me calling, okay, we go back, we go fall back. And then it was me calling again that we turn. So I think we just do it how we feel. Like, if someone feels like it's the right decision, we do the call. And then if it's good, then it's good.
You were talking about how the team is playing very much around you and you really want to carry. Is that one of those moments where you feel too much you have to carry and you think, I just have to go in and kill that one?
I just tunneled on Peke because I saw all my team like full HP and all of them flashing red. At the moment I died, I was like, oh my god, this is way too deep, I should go back, but then I was already dead.
A little too late.
Yeah.
So let's take a step back. SK is definitely performing significantly better as the weeks are going on. We were talking very briefly before we've gone on air now that some of SK's strengths, some of SK's weaknesses, how are you as a team trying to identify those and trying to work with them?
Well, we have an analyst, like every team, I guess, and we try to identify the problems as best as we can. Well, the last weeks we didn't do intense focus on the problems. We just kind of played. So now the more the weeks go, we focus on the problems we have and we try to nail them down to one main problem we can focus on for the next training. We actually we work with a sports psychologist. He will help us with that, and yeah, we just try to nail the problem down and then we work on it for the next training session.
Very interesting. Well, of course, it paid off immediately here versus Fnatic. Finally, I'd like to pick your brains on the next matchup coming up. Super Hot Crew as they take on the Copenhagen Wolves. Trevor, what do you think?
I think the Super Hot Crew on a bit of a streak. I actually think the Copenhagen Wolves have a little bit more problems in the decision-making that need to work through. So I'm going to give this one to Super Hot Crew. I think they're a little bit of the underdogs, but they're playing well enough to get my vote.
What's your opinion?
I think it's the EU LCS, so I can predict it.
Well, right you are. Thank you very much. Congratulations once again. And now let's send things back over to Joe and the Fisho to set our next match into motion.
Thank you very much, Shox. It is time for the Copenhagen Wolves against the Super Hot Crew. These two teams are tied in points at the middle of the table, and whoever wins will jump straight ahead of the other in the ranks. Last week we saw the Copenhagen Wolves ending a 4-game losing streak after taking down SK, but it wasn't all plain sailing for them there, Deficio.
No, Copenhagen Wolves, they have a very hard time closing out games. The right decisions are not there, and the last game was SK. They had a large lead, and they also had the Baron, and then they ended up doing nothing with it.
Yeah.
Or actually walking down after doing nothing, take a very bad team fight and lost it. And this has been a problem for Copenhagen Wolves in pretty much all their games, and it's falling back on the shot calling. Another problem they have, and we kind of have to highlight this one, is Unlimited. He's so far leading the EU LCS in giving up first blood. He's been giving it in 5 out of 10 games, and that is a big issue for both Copenhagen Wolves, but also, the bot lane in general.
Yeah, and despite, though, his support giving up first blood, I think we have one person in particular that's been kind of underrated for the Wolves, and that's their AD carry, Forgiven.
Yeah, Forgiven, for me, he is an underrated AD carry, because he's always performing, and his team fights are near to perfect. His reaction and positioning is just amazing. And just to highlight his skills a bit more, Forgiven, he's the second best farmer at 10 minutes in the EU LCS, and that is despite his support giving up first blood so often.
So incredibly good, and we'll see how he steps up to the plate for this one. His champion pools, though, they've not been so deep. I think just really a couple of areas that he focuses on there, really.
He's been having full focus onto Caitlyn and Lucian. We've barely seen him play anything else. It can be something teams want to ban out now, or maybe just try and put him on something he's maybe a Jinx or a Sivir, or something he's not comfortable on, and then try to shut him down that way.
Well, we'll see as we go closer to champion slip for that one. But the Super Hot Crew, things have been strangely up and down. They lost to the bottom place team Millennium last week. But on the other side of the coin, they recorded the fastest victory in the LCS so far against Gambit.
And the difference between Super Hot Crew in the Millennium game and the Gambit game boils down to, first of all, Impaler and his early aggression, and then also the bot lane. Because the bot lane versus Millennium got completely shut down. They died to ganks from Aranea, they died to the roam from Curb, they died to teleports from Kevin, and Gambit, they weren't able to do the same. They couldn't shut down the bot lane, they couldn't actually shut down any of the lanes from Super Hot Crew, and that's when they really showed how strong they were as individual players. And also, they have a gaming house now. This is a huge deal for such a new team, because if they can be more consistent in their play, then they actually have potential to become a very strong team.
I also think one of the key areas for victory in this for Super Hot Crew will be Mimer in the top lane. We touched on him briefly in the players to watch this week.
Yeah, Mimer, Mimer doing well is more or less the key for Super Hot Crew victory, because if they don't have him, they don't have a front line at all. Impaler likes to play a bit more damage type junglers, so they need, Mimer to do well. And every game they lost, he's been underperforming. But every game they have won, he's been doing so well. Talking about Unlimited before, how with the deaths, Mixa, the support, he's having an insane 41 deaths. He's tied for most in the league together with Svenskeren. Mixa, he's making great plays, but he's simply getting caught out of position way too much, and it's costing Super Hot Crew in some games, and he really needs to fix this.
Well, despite his troubles, Mixer is still coming into this game very confident that his Super Hot Crew will be able to pick up another win against the Wolves.
We lost to Super Hot Crew 2 weeks ago, so we definitely want a rematch.
We beat them 2 weeks ago, so I don't see why we couldn't do it again.
No, I don't remember what went wrong in the game. It just snowballed in a completely wrong direction.
We surprised them with the Morgana pick. They didn't really expect it, and they didn't know what to do against it, because it was probably the first time they were playing against it.
I gave the first blood, I made a huge misplay, I was greedy with my flash, and I underestimated the Morgana Q cooldown, so I thought I was safe.
Dark Binding on Unlimited now!
Dark Binding does catch him this time around. Built up Peacemaker will be back available. Will it catch? Yes, it will. The Ignite! Mr. Rales once again getting first blood.
Last game against him was pretty one-sided. Well, we won't have a one-sided game, but in the other way.
We are better than them individually, a bit weaker as a team, but if we can get a lot of advantage in the lanes, we will win.
will be more wise about our picking, will be more careful about counters in the enemy team, and I will try not to give first blood again.
Try not to give first blood up. That's probably a wise thing to aim for, I think.
Yep, straight on there.
So let's have a look then at the two starting lineups for this one. Starting on the blue side with the Copenhagen Wolves. They are Youngbuck in the top lane, Amazing in the jungle, Coutard in the mid lane, Forgiven the AD carry, and Unlimited the support.
On the red side, we have Super Hot Crew with Mimer in the top lane, we have Impaler in the jungle, Moops in the mid lane, Mr. Riley as the AD carry, and Mixer on support.
So moving on then in towards Champion Select, what are we expecting from this one? Because we mentioned the fact that really Forgiven has been quite limited in terms of what he's played. He has, had against a couple of teams, they've tried to ban him out. He's fallen back to that jinx. But if you look back at his games, Lucian, Kate, Lucian, Kate. It's pretty much just that apart from like the jinx that he put in there once this season so far.
So we have Mr. Rales, who also likes to play both Caitlyn and Lucian. And they have the second pick. So I expect Super Hot Crew to ban away one of them. And then either force Copenhagen Wolves to first pick Caitlyn or Lucian, whoever is not banned. And then they, if they don't, Super Hot Crew can take it and they force then Forgiven to play something completely different, maybe a Jinx, and then they can have a combo worked around shutting him down.
Well, the ban's coming in pretty quickly in this one. Wolves already banning out two with Pantheon aimed at Impaler. Thresh going to be taken away from Mixer. The standard red side ban here with Kassadin coming out for the Super Hot Crew. And Caitlyn will be their second ban.
Alright, so wisely enough, they ban away the Caitlyn. If they also ban Lucian, we're going to see both AD carries on something a bit new. So if they leave it open again, just as I talked about, they force Copenhagen Wolves now with Elise also open so far to either first pick that or give that to a Super Hot Crew or take the AD carry.
That's going to be an interesting first choice. It depends obviously still what the Super Hot Crew ban. They may just ban Elise out themselves if they're just not comfortable with giving that or possibly even giving that up to the Copenhagen Wolves. And we can see there's quite a lot of discussion going on from this one. They know that as they run down the clock, they'll have to decide, and actually they're going to go for Kale, which does leave the Elise open, and the Copenhagen Wolves take that straight off.
They really want this one for Amazing. He's more or less the playmaker on Copenhagen Wolves, and in every single early game, he's very dominant. So for him, getting, in my opinion, the #1 jungle pick all around is very, very good for him, and that's something Copenhagen Wolves will be happy about. If they can manage to now get in Lucian, unless Super Hot Crew locks it away this time, they will be very happy with the start of this pick and ban phase. Fresh is been taken away. That was Mix's go-to support. He's been playing Leona, but he's also been playing everything else. Like he's been playing the Nuno support. He's been playing Nami support. So he's having. He also played Sonar. So he's having a lot of different choices to go for. It will be a bit funny to see how Super Hot Crew rates this though.
Well, let's see. And talking of Amazing getting Elise, he played it in the opening game of the season against Lions. 4-0-9, great performance on that one. Also played it against Fnatic, but didn't quite have the success from that one. But you saw, as Elise was picked, 83% win ratio right now for Elise so far here in the European LCS. Big winner up till now. There is a Gragas locked in as first pick from the Super Hot Crew, along with the Lucian.
So they take the Lucian, now forcing Forgiven onto something completely different than he's been playing in the past. The Gragas, Moops is known as pretty much a Gragas only player in some way. He's been playing Kale, but not with the same success. Gragas for him has always been like the main pick. So getting this for him now, it also shows to me that Super Hot Crew, they have counter picks ready for the other positions, because that's why they want to take this very safe mid laner who can both farm, roam around, and pretty much do everything you need from mid laner. And Moops loves to play it, so it's a good pick. And also to get the Lucian for Mr. Rales.
Where does that leave Coutard, the man on your screen right there? Currently they're hovering over an Ezreal pickup for Forgiven here in the AD carry role. Renekton, of course, still open here for Youngbuck. We know that both of these players in the top lane like a bit of Renekton. It will be locked in though for Youngbuck, and Ziggs for Coutard, a champion which he's brought to the table with pretty decent success actually overall.
Yeah, again, Ziggs, much like Gragas, is just a very safe pick who can always do well in the lane. Ziggs will have this slight advantage versus Gragas early game until you get their fiends and you get some ranks in your queue, so you can start clearing the wave yourself. So Ziggs is a good pick, a lot of pressure. You can also apply with, some pressure to the side lanes with your ultimate. Renekton, all in all three picks from Copenhagen Wolves, they're just so standard, they're so safe, they're not showing anything, other than saying, you know what, we want to have decent wave clear, we want to have decent early game, and we want to have decent late game. And they have all three things in these three champions.
And these statistics there, really following the trend that the Copenhagen Wolves have with Ziggs. They've won one game, lost one game with Ziggs on Coutard, and overall in the LCS, 50% win rate for Ziggs as well. So for the Super Hot crew now, they're going to lock in, by the looks of it, a support and Shyvana here, which, you know, I say and Shyvana because is that going to go in the jungle with Impaler, or will they give it to Mimir in the top lane?
I really hope it's gonna go for Mimir in the top lane, because Shyvana jungle, whenever Impaler's been playing it, is having more or less zero impact. He's not able to do any early ganks, and he's just farming up for the team fights, and that's not the, you know, the main part of Super Hot Crew's tactic. They wanna win this early game and then snowball it from there. So I really hope Mimir will take this one, and obviously he's confident he can go fairly even with Renekton, or maybe out-duel him. The thing is though, Shyvana was nerfed. Renekton will beat her early game if it comes down to, like, if you look at the big picture. So Mimir, he needs to pull something special up. Youngbuck, he's been underperforming a little bit, and this might actually show to us that Super Hot Crew don't really respect or fear him that much.
On the other side then for the Copenhagen Wolves, Ezreal's already been locked in for Forgiven. Actually, not quite. Oh, he has been locked in. My eyes playing tricks on me. And the Karma support, something that they've been liking to run against an Annie.
They're pretty much picking Karma into Annie every single time. According to Unlimited, it's a counter pick due to his poke in the lane. He can, you know, force Annie away, and also due to his shields. When Annie actually engages at level 6, he can shield up whoever is nearby and make sure they can survive the burst. So all in all, he loves this pick, and with Ezreal, they have very good poke lane, they have a very safe lane. Even if they should be shot down, Ezreal can always farm from distance. So all in all, Copenhagen Wolves have to be happy with this champ select. They have pretty much everything they need, except for maybe lacking a little bit late game damage. Ezreal, he doesn't scale too well into the really late game point, and at the same time, Renekton also falls off.
So we're looking for either jungler or top lane here, and if it were to be this Wukong, then we can say that it will be that Shyvana for Mimir in the top lane. Impaler will get his hands on Wukong for this one.
And that's a good pick up again. He can be aggressive. He can put the pressure on the map with this Wukong. He has some good ganks. Even before level 6, he's fairly decent due to having a lot of damage. And once he hit the level 6 mark, we saw Sanad in the last game with the counter ganks, coming in, popping the ultimate, and that's a lot of damage and also a lot of CC. That's very hard to deal with. So all in all, both teams have great combos. They both have wave clear. They have decent scaling into at least the start of the late game. Again, I feel Super Hot Crew will outscale Copenhagen Wolves just a little bit. So it's going to be pretty much impossible to predict who's actually going to take this one, because both combos are very good and very even.
And I think a lot's going to depend on the junglers coming into this one as well. We know them both as, I think it's safe to say, hit and miss so far on certain champions that they've gone for.
Yeah, it definitely been hit and miss, but we got the Elise on Amazing. He loves to play it, and he knows how to play this. Also, Impaler with the Wukong, he loves to do the engages. He's the shot caller when it comes to starting team fights, so for him having something he can actually go in on, then follow up by Mimir, who can jump in with his Shyvana. All in all, it's looking pretty good again, as I said, for both teams.
Well, with the match about to get underway, let's check out the votes to see who you guys picked to win. And it looks like 60% of you have gone with the Copenhagen Wolves from this one. Interesting statistic from my point of view here, you know, 60-40. Super Hot Crew smashed Gambit last week and smashed them, they really did. The fastest game that we've seen so far in the European LCS. The Wolves are coming off of the back of a win as well, though, against SK.
They are, and for me, this game is completely 50-50. There's no 60-40 here, it's 50-50. It's going to rely, actually, for Super Hot Crew's side, quite a lot on Mimir. If he can manage to win the early game on Shyvana and really become this split-pushing threat, I actually see Super Hot Crew taking the game. If not, though, it's going to be so dead even.
Well, here we go then, into game. It's the Copenhagen Wolves taking on the Super Hot Crew. As we said, these two teams are tied in the table. Whoever wins this one is going to get a bit of a lead on the other one, albeit just a little one, because everything's so tight right now in the standings here in the European LCS. And are we going to see anything funky here? I want to touch on the lanes here, because you know, Ezreal Karma is not a lane that we're really used to seeing. Up against Lucian Annie, will they be happy with going 2v2 in that lane?
Basically, for both of them, poking-wise, Copenhagen Wolves have the advantage, especially due to Karma doing more poke than Annie. But in the all-in scenario, Super Hot Crew have the stronger lane. At level 6, if they can manage to land the tippers and then go full-on burst mode with Mr. Riders and Lucian, they might be able to take a kill. But Karma is very hard to kill in the lane. She has the shield, and Ezreal, he's just so safe.
Youngbuck and Mima here on the top side of the map. We'll see if they butt heads at the very early stage of this one. We can see that Amazing just a little bit south in the river. And it's just a very standard opening up until this point. We can see trinkets-wise, everyone going in for the warding totem, so no early clearing available for either side.
No, when both teams have spotted out each other, they know now both top laners are obviously in the top lane. No lane swap as it seems like right now, and we have no invades. Trinkets are going to be ready now in just a matter of seconds, and they can put them down, get the vision they need, and just move to the lanes.
And Mix are actually spotting that first ward that came down, so they know that Cowtard has a bit of vision on the bottom side of that river there. We can see that Youngbuck going to help Amazing kick things off here on the blue buff, and the same will happen for the top laner of the Super Hot Crew. Mima helping out there.
Notice what the Copenhagen Wolves' bot lane is doing here. They're doing it pretty much every single game. They come down the lane and just instantly they move forward and they want to harass Super Hot Crew before the minions even spawn. This is how they do, and they get this early push going. They pull the minions together as well, so they will focus the same target, or at least they're trying to. This time it actually failed for them, but they did get the early minion kill, so they're going to be ahead in XP, and they want to get early level 2.
And Unlimited has played so aggressive with this Karma support in the past, trying to zone the Annie and Thresh that he's played against so far with this Karma support completely out. We can see the damage that he manages to put down. Very, very strong poke. Dangerously strong maybe in these early stages for the Copenhagen Wolves.
Yeah, Karma is really, really strong when it comes to the lane. The issue is the fact that at level 6, she doesn't get like an additional spell like the other supports do. So she's more or less going to stay the same, focusing, poking and shielding, and then she can also speed up the entire team if they want to disengage later.
And we saw the level 2 being hit actually for the bottom lane of the Copenhagen Wolves. Meanwhile, Impaler is doing his blue buff at this point. Amazing, already done his blue. He'll just smite out that red buff and get himself underway as Moop's taking a big hit there from Cowtard in the mid lane.
Yeah, just as we talked about in Champ Select, 6 has the advantage in the very early game because Gragas can't wave clear with his barrel yet, so he's forced to actually go in and try and last hit it by auto-attacking, and that's where 6 can throw the bombs onto him and, you know, get him low.
Harassment pure there from Cowtard in the mid, and he's double the CS up, obviously. Early stages to talk about that, but right now double the CS of that of Moops. Meanwhile, Youngbuck, exactly as we expected as well in that top lane, using that Renekton early bully to force the wave on towards Mima's. So it needs to be careful how many hits he takes there, though.
Yeah, he actually just got 2 tower hits here. It can give some edge to Mima, at least try and make him come back in the lane here. So he's going to try and get every CS he can, and once he can go back and get some items on Shyvana, he will start becoming stronger and stronger.
So Mixer there just actually throwing out his combo as much as possible on towards Unlimited to force him back and stop the aggression that they're putting down. Some very early aggression in that bottom lane between the two of them, as we've come to expect from the Copenhagen Wolves as bottom lane, but that's also cost them a couple of times. I say a couple of times, maybe we could say half the times, because they've given up first blood down there in 5 out of 10 games.
Yeah, I think half the time is pretty spot on, and it shows the way they're playing. They want to be up in the face of the enemy from level 1, and it often means the enemy jungler comes down. You can see Amazing though in the top lane. Mima is fairly safe, he's very close to his turret. Impaler just recalled though, so he won't be able to help.
I don't know if Impaler actually saw him going in from that one. Actually, Youngbuck going to go forward. Mima just going to run with his burnout on back towards his turret, and that means that they can't get in there. Was actually behind a wave of minions as well, which means the cocoon was never going to land. And a little bit of an attempt there from Amazing to get things rolling for Youngbuck in the top side, but Mima playing it safe, all good for him. Mid lane, Cowtard continues to put the pressure on towards Moops.
And he will keep doing this as long as he can. Once Moops hits the level 6 mark, he can try and set up a gank with Impaler coming in, throw the barrel, or throw the ultimate down, shoot him backwards, and then Impaler jumps on him. He's actually getting quite some good poke on Cowtard, and he's falling very low in mana, so he has to recall soon.
Well, on mana, both of them starting out with those Doran's rings. Again, Youngbuck in the top lane. He's done that a couple of times now, just gone a little step too far towards the enemy turret and taken the hits from that one, but nothing that's really causing problems so far in that top lane. He continues to hold a CS lead, as does the bottom lane, as does the mid lane. It's looking good so far for the Copenhagen Wolves from the lane phase.
It's looking good, but also a bit expected from the picks that they would have the stronger very, very early. The mid game from Super Hot Crew is very strong itself though, so I actually expect them to bounce back a little bit, start going fairly well in the lanes once they get a few levels, and then we will see the CS evening out, and it's going to be more about ganks or setting up the dragon or going for blue buff.
Where do you think the junglers are going to focus in this one? I mean, the bottom lane, for example, yes, they're pushed up heavily, but you've got the arcane shift on Ezreal, you've got Karma who can speed you up and slow the enemy push down. Where's the focus going to be from these two junglers?
Well, the first focus for Impaler is either going to be top lane or then hitting the level 6 mark so you can actually really do some proper ganks. Right here, Youngbuck already spots him out. He's fairly low, but he's seen him, and he's just backing off wisely enough. So Impaler can get anything other than applying some pressure. Once he gets the level 6 mark though, he can actually gank whatever lane he chooses to. I would like to see him go mid or go top and then either shut down the Renekton who's constantly pushing up. He's actually going in for him here.
Yeah, Youngbuck actually went back up the lane from this one. He's going to pop his dominance. Will he be able to escape? There is the slice out of it, and yes, he will be able to escape is the answer to that one. So, you know, nice little try for him. Youngbuck obviously feeling very confident though in this top lane.
And that's the thing with Wukong before the level 6 mark. You don't have any CC. Shyvana doesn't bring any CC either. So you're more or less just going in, hitting him in the face, and he can back out from there. Moves though, roaming bot lane here. Can they set something up?
Oh, Mixer's actually gone really low. The Ignite is actually ticking away from Unlimited. He said he's not going to give up the first bloods. This time he picks the first blood up himself. Rala's actually dodging out. Moops is going to go on towards Unlimited. Good flash away. But look at this. Forgiven tanking up the turret. One more is going to take him down. Grave error there from Forgiven, thinking he could take on Rales, who both of them using barrier, both of them using flash. That leaves us at 1-1, and the Wolves are putting pressure onto mid.
They won't really be able to take it, especially because Impaler is here as well. He can defend with Moops. Moops has everything ready except for his Ignite, so maybe they want to try and fight for this one. Back to the bot lane though. Forgiven, he kind of said, I'm not going to survive this one, so I'm just going to try and go for a kill. It meant he had to use both his summoners and dying for it.
Impaler actually wasn't level 6 there either, so even though Moops might have thought, okay, we could maybe go for this one, he didn't have that ultimate to get things started off. He's going to take down those minions and hope that he can hit that level 6 mark with them, but doesn't in the end. And the Wolves actually start an invade here on the red buff, but it's dangerous. We see Mima coming down, mid laner and jungler are coming in there, but well, it's Elise with Smite available. It's not that hard to be taking things away.
No, and the reason they could do this is because Impaler isn't level 6. They knew there wasn't much fighting potential for Super Hard Crew's side. Mima is also fairly weak at this point, so if they had gone for it, Renekton was there and also Kautop was there. Copenhagen Wolves could have won the fight and also gotten the red buff.
Tense early game from this one. Looking again at the top lane as we see actually the Chain Vest coming in along with the Vampiric Scepter as well for Mima. So protecting himself whilst having that sustain in there. Actually double Doran's Blade coming out for Youngbuck.
He's going with the more Freddy style of play, where he goes for double Dorans and then he goes full on winning the lane. Mima picking up the early Chain Vest means that he can now survive some of the damage from Youngbuck and he can actually start trading back to the minions, and with the lifesteal he can sustain himself a little bit better.
So let's see where the next kills come in this one. A 10 start to it, a 2,000 gold leading Impaler coming in, but he's right on top of that ward. And both AD carries with those BF swords in there as well are going to be doing good damage if they can get things started off, and always going to be hard to lock down that Ezreal, that's for sure. Here is Amazing coming down. They actually have a pink ward there in the Tribush, and they know that Impaler is now backed away. This could be a great opportunity for them to get into it.
There is though a ward up here in the river, so it's going to be very hard for him to actually sneak in unless he's going to go all the way around through the bush down in the bottom lane and then try and set something up.
A little bit of a pause here. Apparently someone's having a little mouse issue from that one. It looks like it's actually Amazing, the jungler, who, you know, you don't want to have a mouse problem when you've just got down to the bottom lane into the Tribush because you've got a pink ward in there and the enemy jungler just walked off. So
and he's also the only hard CC, so he needs to land. Oh, well, there's the snare obviously from Karma, but he needs to land the cocoon to set something up. So if the mouse is fucking up, sorry, I just said the F-bomb.
You did, Deficio. You're allowed one, and then you get fired, so no more please from that one. But yeah, we've got guys on this one. Amazing going to get his mouse taken away, replaced or fixed, whatever may be the case. But that gives us a little bit of time to look over where the game is right now. 1,500 gold is what we have for the Copenhagen Wolves. No turret's gone down just yet. Not really many kills coming in. We have, if we talk about the kills, 1-1, of course, 1 for Unlimited. So he stayed true to his promise. He's not going to give up First Blood. In fact, he's going to take First Blood just as a bit of sweet revenge. The other kill did go over to Rales, though, with Forgiven getting a little bit too cocky, maybe, underneath that turret.
Yeah, he really felt that the only way for him to... Oh, well, he actually felt he was pretty much dead. He could just try and pick up a kill for it in exchange. So he, again, in my opinion, I think it was a little bit too aggressive. Both summers blown, giving up the kill from Mr. Rales, so obviously it's easy for us now to say it was too aggressive.
Yeah.
But even at the time, I think he could have escaped. Israel is very good at dodging the barrels and the ultimate from Gragas due to his Arcane Shift and Flash, so he could maybe have escaped with Unlimited.
So as we're hitting 10 minutes now, so I want to ask you again about the whole early to mid-game section that we're about to come into this one. Obviously, we've seen no attempt at the Dragon as of yet, but is that going to be the first place that we see a big fight in this one? Because it has been a fairly passive game. The mid laners not really venturing too much out of the ordinary farm game.
But it's been a passive game because Copenhagen Wolves have the stronger lanes at this point, so they are fine with just farming away. And Impaler haven't been able to gank because he's just been hitting level 6. Now when he's level 6 and now the lanes from Super Hot Crew have been getting some levels themselves, I actually see them trying to come back in the game. And yes, Dragon could potentially be the first big team fight, or we're going to see a gank being set up and then they rotate from there on into the Dragon.
Interesting as well here. We saw the Copenhagen Wolves letting that wave push out from the bottom lane. Hello guys. We will be going back into game here, I'm assuming, in just a couple of seconds. There we go. So that's all good. But this bottom lane, up until now, they let it push right up to them. The jungler just sat outside in the tri-bush. Obviously, Amazing was on top of the ping wall. There was a ward over in the brush to the side in River, so it would have been spotted as he came out anyway.
And this time Impaler here, he's not spotted. He can actually go in for this. Oh, Tibbers!
Oh, Tibbers comes down, and there is the push straight in. Impaler not even having to use his ultimate from that one. And just as we're talking about Amazing, hanging around by that bottom lane, Impaler replying perfectly to come back in there and pick up the second kill of the game for the Super Hot Crew.
And just as we talked about, gank coming in, and then they rotate from there onto the Dragon. That's the beauty of ganking bot lane. If you can take down one of them, there's really no chance for Copenhagen Wolves to fight for this one. They have to try and steal with either Cow-Tot or at least going in for Smite Steal, which is very risky.
I was kind of right, the next big fight for Dragon there. A little bit before that in the bottom lane. There is a defensive barrel actually coming out of Moops. They stopped the Dragon being taken down. It's going to be picked up, but Impaler's going to die. Rallis is going to die as well. That is 2 big kills coming in from the Wolves.
And just as we say, Copenhagen Wolves can't really fight for it, every single ultimate from them is hitting Impaler, so he dropped so low, it was such an easy kill, and Mr. Rallis at the same time as well. He got hit by both the ultimate from Ezreal and also the 6 bomb, so he just died instantly, and Copenhagen Wolves took 2 kills for it.
Trying to actually put some pressure onto this bottom lane as well. Amazing did fall decently low in that one. And Annie just recalling leaves that bottom turret completely open. So we'll see exactly how much damage Forgiven and Unlimited can do. They did a lot earlier, don't forget, as they were pushed up on it the entire first 8 minutes of the game.
And notice how they're not actually hitting the turret. They wanted to kill as many minions as possible to deny them from Mr. Rallis. So wisely enough, they're just waiting. And then in the end, they can just let the minions kill it or last hit it for the extra gold. And smart play by Copenhagen Wolves. They completely punish Super Hot Crew for going Dragon, and they punish Impaler for being hit by every single ultimate from Copenhagen Wolves.
Textbook stuff on that front, that's for sure. If you look at the items between the AD carries down bottom, pretty much a mirror image there, apart from the health and mana pot that we see with Mr. Rolls. But for you, if we end up getting into a 2v2 here, who's the strongest between them? Now that Annie is level 6 and has Tibbers up there, do they have that edge?
That's the thing. If they can manage to kill them with the upfront burst they have with Tibbers and with Lucian, they will be the strongest. But if Copenhagen Wolves can escape this one and start poking them, they will actually win it in the end, just by extending the fight and constantly poking on to Super Hot Crew. And Forgiven is doing a great job farming. He's beating him by 20 CS, and it all boils down to, first of all, the starting level 1 scenario where they pushed them to the turret and got them behind, and also the fact he come back to lane here when Mr. Rallis was dead and pick some CS up.
Bit of a fight in the top lane, if we can really call it that, between Youngbuck and Mima. They're just basically going to have a few hits on each other, trade a bit of damage, and in the end, both will just walk away. Mid lane, though, might not be the case. Cow-Tot and Amazing again teaming up to put the damage in there. Impaler just decoyed in to see if he could get in range to maybe start things off. His ultimate was available, as was Moop's explosive cast there as well. In the end, though, they didn't manage to get anything. Amazing goes back on his way. One thing I like from the Wolves, though, is that they do have these 2 wards down deep in the enemy red side of things. And let's not forget, Amazing stole away the red last time it spawned.
And right now, he's just going to wait for Impaler to run in if he was nearby for the red, and he would be able to more or less get him so low and force him away so he could take it. Impaler is completely out of plans though than his red buff. He want to gank this bot lane once again. He want to get Mr. Rallis going. He already got 2 kills. If he can get 1 more, he can actually start really being a threat.
There's a ward in that brush, but Mixer has a flash and he's going to use it here. Tibbers comes down on towards Forgiven. Have they got the damage? They're calling the barrel. Moops picks up the kill onto Forgiven. Match range there. Another solid rotation by the Super Hot crew. That's going to give them their first turret.
But it's going to cost them the mid turret because both Coutard and Amazing is there to push it. But Super Hot crew, they're investing everything into this bot lane. They want to make sure that Mr. Alice gets the kill and the farm he needs to be able to carry the team fights. And it's now, it cost them the mid turret, they did get a kill and the bot turret for this one, so it's worth it for Super Hot crew.
So Athene's Unholy Grail being picked up after that kill there by Moops' Gragas as he gets himself back off into the lane. Always nice to have there. Obviously his opposing number does have Athene's Unholy Grail as well, and a blasty one actually we should say for Moops, so he's going to be doing some decent damage now in that one. He is quite far behind on the CS. As we said though, early game he got harassed a lot. He's had a bit of time to roam down from that one. It's to be expected.
It is to be expected, but we also need to have Super Hot crew coming back now in the game. They need to come back to the lanes and actually start really picking up the farm they need, because they've gotten the levels, they've gotten the items. And meanwhile though, Amazing, he's just rotating around the map not to gank, but just to pick up turrets or at least some turret damage.
And doing a good job of it as well there. A lot of damage onto that top tower. Mima was forced to back away, and between Youngbuck and him, they can take these minions out like nobody's business, and they should have this turret away on this wave. Mima, as I said, can't come up, but Super Hot crew are actually moving into position. They just went over a pink ward, which will reveal their position, and actually I'm not sure that Moops even noticed it.
No, but Super Hot crew, they feel the pain of playing against 6, who can just wave clear all the time. There were 4 people in mid lane, but there was no wave, so they couldn't move in for the turret, and instead they end up giving up the top turret without getting anything in exchange. So what it means for this game at least is the fact that with Coutard, if he can stay in this mid lane and just constantly wave clear, and the rest of the Copenhagen Wolves can do what they're doing now, move around on the other lanes and take up kills, towers and objectives, it's going to be an issue for Super Hot crew unless they dive Coutard.
Well, that may just happen. You will see the ultimate going across, wanting to get a bit of long range farm there. Was Forgiven in the end. Youngbuck says, no mate, you just got them low for me, made it just all that easier for me to finish them off. Thank you very much. He's got a Sunfire Cape now added in, as does Mima on Shyvana, but he's also moving up to that Blade of the Ruin King at the same time.
He is, and once he finishes Blade of the Ruin King, he can really start dueling Renekton and actually win it. And then the whole split pushing scenario is going to start from Shyvana, where you basically have to draw people from Copenhagen Wolves up there, while the rest of Super Hot crew takes something else. But just as I talked about before, 6 will be an issue, because he can wave clear all the time. He can even stand in the mid lane, throw his ultimate bot, clear the wave there, and force Super Hot crew to do something else than having just Mima split pushing.
And if we look there at his items, he's now got that needlessly large rod added in. Does Coutard, so he's going to be hitting all the more. Also got his blue buff in, as does Moops, and they start to move up. That middle turret, of course, was taken down a little previously. We've got less than a quarter of a minute until that Baron actually, until Dragon comes up once again. Youngbuck actually trying to stop Mima from going down to that one, at least damaging him enough that they don't have a big tank at the front line of that one. That's a good job from Youngbuck, the rest of the team making sure that Super Hot crew didn't start it off.
Yeah, and if Copenhagen Wolves can keep poking away with the Ezreal, with the 6 onto Super Hot crew, and maybe get someone like Impaler low, they can actually force Super Hot crew to back off from this Dragon, and they can get it for free. However, Super Hot crew is doing a good job avoiding the poke so far.
So, Dragon started here by Amazing. Does, wow, that was the Tibbers coming down, but onto Unlimited, and there was no one there to follow it up. Impaler's decoy actually took most of the damage from that one, and they actually turn around, going on towards Moops. Ultimate won't save him. Coutard picks up that one. Can they finish off Mima? He's going to ult straight over the top of the wall, and in the end, the Dragon was backed away from by the Wolves, but they pick up the kill onto Moops, which lowers their steal potential considerably, and they finish it off as they go back in. Great move from the Wolves, 4,000 gold lead.
A very messy engage from Super Hot crew right here. Basically, Mixer went in with the Tibbers, nobody followed up. Impaler tried to come in for the fight, but he got poked and he had to back out, and instead they catch on to Moops with Youngbuck going for him, and they pick up an easy kill and the Dragon. Super Hot crew, they need to be more decisive when they're going in. Everyone has to kind of collapse at the same time, especially Tibbers and Wukong ultimate.
I just saw actually Amazing putting a ward down, which was then cleared off, so a pink ward, they know that's there, and Amazing, as you can see, is hanging around thinking, okay, do I want to go in for that one? Although the red buff should be coming up here quite shortly, the last 2 were both stolen away by Amazing.
And Basically what Impaler did, every time Red was up and he knew Amazing was going to try and steal it, he went bot lane and set something up because he knew Amazing wouldn't be there. So he kind of traded the red buff for gank. It's a risky one because if you don't get the gank, a successful gank in the bot lane, you kind of just give up your red buff for free. But no, Mixer coming in.
Mixer coming in there, but he takes a lot of damage. That's a good rocket coming back. Ulti comes out from Ziggs. Mixer not quite finished up, but they turn around onto Mook. Can they finish him? Flash from Amazing. He gets the kill onto Mixer. Rawls will blast back though and does get the kill. He flashes away. Meanwhile, Youngbuck went low. Kowtow now getting a lot of pressure. Mimer's going to try and chase him down. Don't know if they got the damage there, but Unlimited's going to be chasing. Impaler slams down, and that will be 2 for 1 here in favor of the Super Hot Crew.
And Super Hot Crew, they punished Copenhagen Wolves for only being 4 people in this area. Forgiven was far away. Then they spotted him, and they went in for the fight. A bit of a weird engage by Mixer. He didn't even get his tippers down, but he did manage to start the fight at least, and the rest of Super Hot Crew come in and pick up 2 kills.
But still messy, we have to say, from this one. The Wolves, they've done a decent fight down by Dragon before. They kind of messed this one up, maybe overestimated their power at this stage of the game. And that red buff in the end will end up going over towards the Super Hot Crew once again. Rawls, in the meantime, he spent a lot of time back down on this bottom lane farming. Is still behind that of Forgiven, but you know, if he's a little bit behind in farm but in the team fights at the right time, then he'll probably take that trade any day of the week.
And he got the free kills, so he should actually be ahead in gold compared to Forgiven, which means even though he's slightly behind, he can sacrifice that farm and be with the team as we saw before. The Forgiven was standing bot lane, trying to farm up, and the rest of the Copenhagen Wolves kind of went in a little bit too aggressive on the red bot.
There's the blue barrel down by Moop. So 20-minute mark about to hit the clock. We're tied on the kills. 3-1 in turrets though for the Copenhagen Wolves, and that's a little bit worrying for Super Hot Crew. You mentioned it before that Kowtow's only getting stronger. It means it's hard for them to actually push in and take towers of their own.
It is, definitely, and that's kind of the issue for both teams. Both have great wave clear and not that much siege potential, so it's very hard for both teams to do anything on the map unless they get a kill somewhere. So either we have to wait for the next dragon, or one of these teams are going to say, you know what, we're going to go now into the enemy jungle and try and set something up.
Well, we see anything around Baron. The first ward's starting to be placed around the backside of the pit and in the pit itself. So now, the buff's coming up. Kowtow will be happy to take away his blue. We can see that Unlimited here picking himself up the Chalice. Also got his GP10 rolling a little bit earlier than that of Mixer as well.
Definitely, and he wants to complete the talisman, so he has both talisman and his own speed up. That's a lot of, you know, both disengage but also engage potential for Copenhagen Wolves, and it's gonna help someone like Youngbuck to actually get in there, because he's the only hard engage they have in this lineup is Youngbuck dashing in, stunning a target, or landing a cocoon on Amazing. They don't have like the Wukong stealthing in or the flash tippers from Annie to set up a fight.
Yep, rely a lot more on coordination and skill shots, that's for sure. Not that, you know, flash tippers is the easiest thing to land in the world. We've seen our fair share of those being whiffed somewhat. But Mixer, he's just going to be recalling back in the middle lane. Kowtow just keeping that wave pushed up beyond the halfway mark. And they'll be all happy with that one. Speaking of the supports there as well, Mikhail's Crucible actually finished off by Unlimited. That could be vital when we're talking about the, you know, the fact that Tibbers can come down and stun out Forgiven or Kowtow in the middle of a fight. He can remove that.
Exactly. This is purely to stop their stun on someone from Annie. If Annie managed to hit, let's say, 6 or Forgiven, he can throw down the Mikhails and therefore cleanse them so they can get out of the range of Wukong when he comes in with the Cyclone. It's actually a smart pickup, even though there's only one thing he can really use it on.
Oh, both teams seem reluctant here to really challenge for things, and maybe a case of waiting until that next dragon comes up. That's in just over a minute's time from now.
Yeah, and Super Crew, they were also waiting for Mimer to finish his Blade of the Rune King, which he has now. He's going to return to this top lane, and now he really want to try and duel with Renekton. He really want to try and shove him out of the lane and force him to go elsewhere, maybe towards the dragon, and then they can trade it for a tower if they don't feel confident team fighting. They are behind, and Copenhagen Wolves have a very good combo at this point, and they have a lot of poke to set up before the fight. So if Copenhagen Wolves now can move down and get full vision control, it's going to be hard for Super Hot Crew to do anything.
Well, it's pushing out this bottom wave as well here. Maybe that mid lane. Now, you can tell that these two teams want this win. Or I'd say at this point in the season, you know, considering how both teams have been playing and are tied in the table, you need this kind of win. This is the kind of win that separates you come the end of the year.
Yeah, of course. And this is against another team who just joined the league, so you really want to make sure that you're not one of them who's dropping out or dropping down to relegation at least. So these matches are very, very important. You notice right here, Renekton already moved down towards the dragon. Mima, he's staying top. He want to just try and get this turret down, and then they can give over or try and steal the dragon with Gragas, or just give it simply to Copenhagen Wolves and say, you know what, we're fine with this, we don't want to fight you at the moment.
Well, the Wolves have started that one off, and it's got less than half HP, which is basically no HP when you've got an Elise there with Smite as well. Mima will take down this turret. He's going to have to tank up a couple of hits of it, but that really won't make much of a dent onto him. So that was the trade that happened. Dragon for the Wolves, top turret for Mima and the Super Hot crew.
And this kind of shows the different combos. You have the split pushing Shyvana, and you have the team fighting Renekton. He didn't want to stay up top because he thought there were going to be a fight, but Super Hot crew again, they simply said, we are not in a position to fight, we're not strong enough, we need some key items on our members. Impaler, for instance, he has to get a lot more tanky before he can really jump in there, put down his ultimate without dying instantly.
Actually, red buff given over on towards Mima, which actually makes a lot of sense for him now that he's in that top lane, that he's got his Blade of the Ruin King. That gives him the chance to not only duel there with Youngbuck, but have the chance to keep him slowed enough to kill him.
Yeah, and the fact that Youngbuck has gone for full tank, there's no Hydra or anything, means that he won't be able to touch Mima. He has no damage on him at this point due to both the ultimate of Mima, but also the Sunfire. So he's more or less giving up the lane at the moment, and due to Mima also having the red buff, we instantly see him shoving all the way down.
Another couple of big items coming in there as well. Actually, the Aegis finished off here for amazing. We've seen a variety of builds when it comes to Elise, from very defensive, tanky Elise builds right the way to the full AP, super insane damage builds on Elise. What do you think to the Aegis in this stage?
Well, once he gets the locket with it, it's fairly good versus the engage from Annie and also the Cyclone from Wukong, because you have all this AoE damage. If you can stop some of the hard engage from Super Hot crew and make sure your members survive, so you can start disengaging and kiting around with the Karma, with Ezreal, and also, the bombs from 6. It actually, it makes sense, and it can be pretty strong in team fights if you can manage to get it down on multiple people when the engage start from Super Hot crew.
Spirit Visage was just finished off, by the way, for Youngbucks Renekton on that top side of the map. But both teams, again, we thought maybe around Dragon might be an explosive moment. In the end, it was just a trade-off turret for Dragon. And again, they've come back to that kind of tug-of-war game almost. In all three lanes, one guy just pushes it out, the next guy from the other team just pushes it straight back, not wanting to risk anything at this stage of the game.
No, and both teams seems happy just farming away and going towards the really late game scenario. Again, Shyvana, she's going to keep being stronger and stronger. Gragas, he has a good late game, he has a lot of burst potential. You have Lucian versus Ezreal, both AD carries. I would say Lucian has the edge late game, but Ezreal is definitely still very good. He can deal a lot of damage and he's very hard to catch. And then support-wise, you have the more disengaged, focused Karma versus the hard engage on Annie. So all in all, both teams just seem happy farming away and nobody really want to take any risk.
No risks at all being made by either team, really. See that throughout these last, well, I'd say 10 minutes by now. There's certainly been this tug of war in action. They're taking everything that they possibly can from the jungles. Rals has basically done circles around the river and that tri-bush there as he pushes waves in, goes back, clears out whatever wards may have been put down there, and does exactly the same over and over again. A couple of more items actually coming out now, so another Giant's Belt actually picked up for Youngbuck. We can see between the two AD carries, both of them gone Bloodthirster. A Last Whisper actually picked up from Rals. Compare that over to a Trinity Force and what is going to be a Last Whisper here for Forgiven afterwards.
Yeah, Forgiven is going to be very close to his Last Whisper. He most likely want to complete it before Copenhagen will set up anything. The fact though that Youngbuck is going this full tank style also means that Amazing have been able to go for more Magic Pen, so he has a bit more damage to deal with because they have this Renekton in the front line taking all the damage. Super Hot crew, they pretty much forcing Impaler to build damage because Mima, you can't hard engage on Shyvana. You can come in from the side maybe and then start tanking away, but they need Impaler to be able to go in, pop his ultimate and stay in there to do the damage.
Ral's pushed very aggressive up on this bottom side of the map though, once again forcing that wave through. And the supports, if you look at them, probably a key item as well we have to look at is the Talisman compared to Nomad's Medallion there, which means that not only do they have Karma who gives your entire team a speed boost anyway, but with the Talisman in there as well, Super Hot crew need to be a little bit careful not to get caught as a team too far up a lane.
Yeah, and again, this is why the locket works for Copenhagen Wolves, because they can lock it and shield from Karma and therefore survive decide to engage and then start kiting away or chasing Super Hot Crew with all the move speed that Karma now brings. And 6, wave clearing. As always, Mimer, he's staying in this, he just want to push. And the rest of Super Hot Crew, except for Mr. Rales, are just going to wave clear in the mid lane.
Hey, very much farm-heavy game, I think we can safely say, at this point of things. Waiting for that next bit of action to come in, which may not be too far away. If we look at the top left there, Dragon is coming up in 1 minute's time. At least one team's going to fight for this one, Deficio.
Well, at least we can hope so.
We can hope so, yeah.
Mimer, I'm not sure if he's going to stay here in the top lane, or he's just going to shove it out and then rotate to Dragon, and Super Hot Crew actually feel confident in fighting now. Otherwise, Copenhagen Wolves will just pick it up for free once again. We've seen how fast they take it with release. They're actually setting up for Baron here.
Oh, they're actually going to go in, but that's the decoy, guys. And, well, they killed Impaler, but it wasn't the right Impaler. That's the key point of that one. The aggro Baron, as they were going as well, took a couple of hits from that one. And the whole time, Rals pushing down this bottom lane. Going to be doing some good damage onto that turret as well. They've got to send someone in there, otherwise they're going to lose it. The option is go for Baron and force Rals to back away.
Copenhagen Wolves want something to happen. They want a team fight. They feel confident they have the stronger one. Super Hot Crew, they are having 4 people there, and they have a lot of poke with the Gragas. Might even be able to steal the Baron. And meanwhile, Rals is just pushing.
Wow, they're being very aggressive here, Super Hot Crew. There's a Cocoon landing on towards Mixer, the barrel. Going to force them away, but Kautar gets the 1 kill. Impaler's decoy was taken away, and he flashed over the backside of things. Youngbuck now trying to chase down Moots. This entire time, though, this is backfiring possibly on the Wolves. Yes, they got a kill. It's a support, but look at that. They're losing an inhibitor turret. They finally sent Ziggs back, and that was so calmly played by the Super Hot Crew.
Yeah, Mixer, he goes in, he sacrifices himself to stop Copenhagen Wolves from doing the Baron. The entire Copenhagen Wolves team, they move away from it and go and kill him. And thereon, they just try and chase around Super Hot Crew. Meanwhile, Mr. Ryle is just pushing the bot lane. They do get the Dragon, however, which giving quite a lot of gold at this point. So they'll be fairly happy, but losing the bot wasn't good. We might see a fight.
Oh, this is an interesting one because Impaler's there as well. Oh my god, the damage coming down. 2 kills. Forgiven's got no mana. He's got his barrier, but that's not going to save him. He got 1 kill to give him some credit there, but they get caught out. That's 3 for 1. Even though they got the Dragon, they're not the trade that the Wolves were looking for.
Definitely not. Copenhagen Wolves felt safe in taking this one, so they moved down there, even with only 3 members. Super Hot Crew, though, they came down from behind and they just instantly punished it, got in there, got the damage they needed, took 3 kills, and now they can push this mid-turret.
Let's see if they can, though. Kautar is going to be spamming his abilities out. Youngbuck is there as well, and he is ridiculously tanky at this point in the game. He can stick to you. Mimer actually starting to back away. He's just going to go back to his top lane pushing game. The rest of the Super Hot Crew do decide to back off from that one as well. So still a very tense game here.
But this is the decision making from Copenhagen Wolves we've touched on in the pre-game. How once they get to this mid-late game scenario, they make some risky moves, and they make some moves that often end up costing them. This time around, going for the Dragon with only 3 members. The rest of the team weren't there. Meant that Super Hot Crew could come down and take more or less 3 kills just for free. Except, okay, Mr. Alice died for it, but I think it's a trade they'll take any day.
They're just going to go up there and clear out that Baron pit once again. I just see 1 single ward at the backside, but Super Hot Crew still got decent vision around completely. And I like this pink ward there on the brush as well. It allows them to see, okay, any trap wards, as we saw before. Impaler's decoy actually was that got caught out, but that stops them sitting in Baron pit, putting a ward over and waiting for Super Hot Crew to come in and then pouncing.
Exactly. It also means that if Copenhagen Wolves starts it, Moobs can stand on that ping ward and feel safe that he's not going to get either, killed or stunned up when he's about to try and steal it, if it's that way they're going. Mr. Rice, he's just returning to the bot lane, and Mimer's just returning to the top lane. Super Crew just want to get them farming all the time and just keep Moobs to wave clear the mid lane.
It's interesting if you look at the CS totals here between those AD carries, because Raz has had so many waves down in that bottom lane. He's sat at 285 to the 303 though of Forgiven, who's doing a great job. If we look at the gold, there's only about 100 between them at this point in the game. The kills evening that up. But look at this, the Wolves going straight in for the turret. Super Hot Crew can't do anything this time, but Raz is going to be pushing the inhib now.
Yeah, they need someone to recall very, very fast to go on and stop him or try and close on him. He's going to take this one, and he might die for it, but he doesn't care, because getting an inhib is so big at this point.
Well, I don't even know if he's going to die for it, to be honest there. He isn't. They take that inhibitor, and Super Hot Crew doing a great job of not allowing the Copenhagen Wolves to back away and recall. Kautar did manage to recall, but it's just too late.
Yeah, but all in all, going for the mid turret for Copenhagen Wolves was an okay move if it wasn't for Mr. Riles in the bot lane. They didn't send Forgiven down to try and stop him or the 6 down to try and stop him. So all in all, they trade turret for inhib and they can be happy with this. Everything for Copenhagen Wolves is not going as planned the last 5 minutes.
See that? Another red buff stolen away by the Copenhagen Wolves. Give them credit, that's something they've done really well this game, is control the red on both sides of the map. Finally, someone's going to go down from Wolves' side of things to clear out that bottom lane. Actually, 2 of them are going to go there this time, so that's even a little bit of overkill, which again, could end up costing you if they get spotted.
It is. I mean, they couldn't, if Super Crew were in a position to go for or force a Baron fight, but they're not. They're still, you know, just more or less farming up everywhere. I will actually be more or less, I will expect to see Super Crew now trying to set something up. They have the bot lane pushing with the super wave. They can go and get vision control of this Baron area and then force Copenhagen Wolves into a bad fight. If they just keep farming and keep split pushing with Mimir, we are in for a very, very long game.
And they've also got a couple of good defensive items in here. We see the Banshee's Veil for Impaler. We see the Zhonya's as well for Moop. So they can afford to be that little bit more aggressive and have that protection in there behind them. We're going to see a Banshee's coming out for Mr. Rolls as well, which will certainly help out. It can stop the cocoon hitting. You can stop a stun coming out. A big blast from Kautard's ultimate. A lot of different options there that Banshee's good against.
Yeah, the Banshee more or less will remove any kind of engage Copenhagen Wolves actually have, unless they can break it and then, yeah. Youngbuck going in, dashing in, trying to land a stun. And it's actually a big issue for Copenhagen Wolves, because due to them having no hard engage, they couldn't just shove up one of the waves and then dive a turret or set something up. They've been forced to kind of follow Super Hot Crew around on the map, and it's ended up costing them. And now Super Hot Crew is actually starting the Baron.
Starting the Baron. They got Shyvana in the top lane there. Mimir sat by. That's a good barrel coming out from Moops, and they're going to instigate in this one. They go on towards Kautard, and he gets blown to pieces. Moops here is going to get that kill, and they also chase them out with Rolls getting another. Moops picks up his second in that fight. That's a 3 for nothing. And look at those green health bars for the Super Hot Crew. They didn't take any damage there.
Just as we talked about, Super Hot Crew could move down, get vision control of this area, and then start the Baron. Copenhagen Wolves had to kind of run in without being 5, and it ended up just going completely wrong for them. Paler went on to Kautard and managed to lock him up and then to kill him and just chase the rest out.
I'd say that Youngbuck's in trouble here. He actually might be by the end of it, but he's just so ridiculously tanky. The rest of the team coming across, and they're going to try and take a turret away. We're actually tied 4-4 on turrets, which kind of paints a misleading picture because the inner turret's still up in the middle and the top lane, and even the outer turret here in that middle lane. It's all because of that push from earlier on in the bottom lane from Mr. Rolls that they've actually got those 4 turrets. They're going to start coming in for them, and that gives not just the Baron and the kills there that gives them the gold, but these turrets that they're going to push down. Actually going aggressive here on towards Youngbuck. That's a lot of damage coming out. There's going to be a bit of damage right back at them, and Moops has to use that Zhonya's. Don't think he's going to be able to escape. No, shut down in the end from Forgiven.
And that was very aggressive move by Super Hot Crew. They actually already got the turret in the top lane with Mimir, so they didn't have to go for more. They could have backed out. They felt confident they can pick up a kill. In the end, it backfired. They gave away, you know, the kill on Gragas. But they're actually going in.
Oh, and Paler going to get right in the middle of them. Tibbers comes down as well. That's so much damage. Amazing. Going to repel from that one. Youngbuck's a crocodile. He can't jump up in the air like that, though. He falls. Unlimited's going to get chased down by Mr. Rolls, and that's more kills coming the way of the Super Hot Crew, and they're not done just yet. Mimir chasing Forgiven. There's no turret behind him. That inhibitor turret and the inhibitor itself was taken down earlier on, and Mimir pushes through here. There's only 2 men alive here for the Copenhagen Wolves. This could actually be really dangerous.
They can maybe even try and get a Nexus turret. There's only 1 left, and they have the mini wave coming with them down bot.
Kautard just getting absolutely demolished there. Nexus turret's gone down. They can actually win the game right here. There's 20 seconds until the next guys actually start to spawn in. Kautard takes another big hit. He's trying to get some health back. There is a true shot. Mirage picks up a kill, but they're already focusing the Nexus. The culling comes down. Less than half HP left, and there is the finisher. The Super Hot Crew take out the Copenhagen Wolves. A very, very tense game. Neither team wanting to risk anything, but in the end, the Super Hot Crew get in the edge, finishing the game.
Yeah, in the end, due to the fact that nobody wanted to risk anything, they got the farm they needed on Super Hot Crew, even though they were behind early, and they got to the items they needed to actually start really winning these fights. And all in all, though, they more or less outplayed Copenhagen Wolves on the map. Every time they split loose somewhere, Copenhagen Wolves didn't have an answer, and just ended up first losing the inhib, and later on they lost the Baron and more kills on it. And yeah, the decision making for Copenhagen Wolves, it is not there. The shot calling is not correct once you get to this mid-late game scenario, because they always end up giving something to the enemy team.
And you can see that, well, the look on their faces just screams demoralized right now. I mean, you get into a position where you're looking pretty decent, where a few things are going right for you. Yes, a couple of messy team fights here and there, but you've got a decent grasp on the game. In the end, that doesn't actually work out for you. And Super Hot Crew, you have to give them every credit, because their decision-making right there at the end won them the game very quickly.
They did, and just by the fact they went for this Baron when they actually had the inhib down in bot lane, so they knew someone from Copenhagen Wolves had to defend it. They just instantly went in, got full vision of the area, and then they forced Copenhagen Wolves into a terrible fight, and they took the kills needed. From there on, Copenhagen Wolves actually had more or less a small comeback, where we had them diving down the mid turret. But then again, 6 went back to defend, and the rest of Copenhagen Wolves, they pushed out 4 people, and then Super Hot Crew just turned and killed them. So yeah, as you're saying, the shot calling for, or the decisions for Super Hot Crew were just on another level compared to Copenhagen Wolves, so they punished them every single time something happened.
And remember, guys, to stay tuned after tonight's matches for even more action as the European Challenger Series continues with the battle for 3rd place between Tick, Trick and Duck and Meet Your Makers.
And on Friday, 2 teams will go for the Challenger title as Ninjas in Pyjamas take on Cloud9 Eclipse. Since that will be taking place live here on our stage in Cologne, we'll be starting at a special time 2 hours earlier at 5 p.m. Central European Time, which is 8 a.m. Pacific.
Well, for now, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, Shox and Deficio, well, this guy here, he's going to make a quick move down there. They're going to be joined by Mixer from the Super Hot Crew. And then it's a Week 1 rematch as Rockout take on a re-energized Alliance. Last time Overpower and his crew dominated, but now that Froggen has found his momentum, it's anybody's game. Coming out from Moops, and they're going to instigate in this one. They go on towards Countdown, and he gets blown to pieces. Moops here is going to get that kill, and they also chase them out with Rolf getting another. Moops picks up his second in that fight.